So let's get real for a second. Your landlord just hiked the rent again, your friends are all posting pictures with their new house keys, and it feels like everyone is telling you that you're just throwing money away. But what if I told you that as a renter, there's a way to build even more real estate wealth than all your homeowner friends? Seriously, stick with me because what we're about to cover could completely flip your financial world upside down.
Ah, yes, the classic line, right? You know, renting is just throwing money away. It's the ultimate financial guilt trip, and we've all felt it. But what if that piece of common wisdom is just wrong? What if it totally ignores the huge, hidden, and frankly painful costs of actually owning a home?
All right, here's what we're going to do. First, we are going to absolutely bust that rent versus buy myth. Then I'll introduce you to a powerful little tool called a REIT. We'll run the actual numbers to see who comes out on top. Then I'll give you a dead simple 3-step action plan. And finally, we'll talk about the incredible, and I mean incredible, advantage you have as a renter. Okay, first up, let's pull back the curtain on home ownership. You know, people absolutely love to talk about their mortgage payment, but they seem to conveniently forget about all the other cash that is flying out of their bank account every single month. This right here is the gap between what people say and what they actually pay. Your cousin might brag about their $2,000 mortgage, but once you add in property taxes, homeowners insurance, basic maintenance, maybe some HOA fees, their real monthly cost is way closer to $3,000. That's over $1,000 a month that isn't building a single penny of equity. It's just gone. And that doesn't even count the big, terrifying surprises. A new roof, that could be $15,000. A new air conditioner in the middle of a heat wave, $8,000 easy. These are huge, and they are going to happen. They can wipe out your savings in an instant. But as a renter, you know what that is? It's your landlord's problem, not yours. And this brings us to the most important point. This is the secret that separates savvy investors from everybody else. You do not need to own the property to profit from the property. You can get all the financial upside of real estate without any of the headaches of ownership. How? Well, let me introduce you to your new favorite acronym. This is it. This is the solution. It stands for Real Estate Investment Trust. But you can just forget the jargon. The idea behind it is actually brilliantly simple. So all a REIT is a company that owns and runs real estate that makes money. We're talking apartment buildings, shopping malls, office towers, you name it. And you can buy a share of that company just like you'd buy a share of Apple or Google stock. Let me break it down like this. Imagine you and thousands of other people all chip in a little bit of money. A company then takes that giant pool of cash and buys a massive portfolio of properties, hundreds of them. Then, every single month, when the rent gets collected from all those properties, you get your slice of the pie. It is that simple. And this is exactly why REITs are so powerful. Instead of having your entire life savings tied up in one house, in one neighborhood, you're instantly diversified across hundreds or even thousands of properties. You get professional managers, so no 3 a.m. phone calls about a clogged toilet. You get liquidity, which just means you can sell your shares in seconds if you need the cash. And maybe the best part? By law, these companies have to pay out 90% of their taxable income back to you, the investor. Okay, theory is great, but let's see how this actually plays out in the real world. Let's run the numbers and find out who really builds more wealth over 10 years. So we're going to look at two people. First, a typical homeowner. Second, a smart renter who takes all the money they save by not owning a home and invests it into REITs. And we'll assume they both start with the exact same amount of cash. After 10 years of paying that mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, the repairs, our homeowner has built up about $252,000 in home equity. And look, that's a solid number. It's the figure everyone loves to brag about at family gatherings. But the story doesn't stop there. What about our smart renter? Okay, so our smart renter, they took what would have been their down payment, plus all those monthly savings from not owning, and they just consistently invested it into REITs. And after those same 10 years, their portfolio is worth $405,000. That is the awesome power of compounding returns without all the costs of homeownership dragging you down. Look at this. I mean, just look at this side by side. It is not even close. The smart renter is over $150,000 richer after just a decade. They did this with way less stress, way more flexibility, and without ever having to fix a leaky faucet. That is a life-changing amount of money. All right, so you've seen the proof. You're probably thinking, okay, I'm in. How do I actually do this? Well, the best news is, it's incredibly, almost ridiculously simple. Here is your exact game plan.
It's really just 3 easy steps. First, you open a tax-advantaged account, something like a Roth IRA. This is huge because it lets your money grow completely tax-free. Second, you buy a single, low-cost REIT ETF. Think of it as a basket that holds hundreds of different real estate investments for you. Third, and this is key, you automate your investments every single month. You put your wealth building on autopilot.
And you don't have to be some stock-picking genius. A single one of these ETFs can give you ownership in over 150 different real estate companies with literally one click. And by holding it inside that Roth IRA, every single dollar of growth can be completely tax-free forever. It is the ultimate wealth-building combo. So let's just bring this all home. Being a renter isn't some sort of financial failure. When you pair it with smart investing, it's a massive strategic advantage. You're not losing the game. You're just playing a different and, frankly, a much smarter one. This really is the core difference. The homeowner's wealth, it's illiquid. It's trapped in one single, hard-to-sell asset. It's high stress, and all their risk is concentrated in one place. You, the smart renter, your wealth is liquid, low stress, and beautifully diversified. Just remember, everything you gain, you have the flexibility to move for that dream job. You will never, ever get a surprise $15,000 bill for a new roof. Your money is accessible if and when you need it. And you're building a true diversified real estate empire, not just maintaining a single house. So I want to leave you with this question, because armed with this knowledge, you now have a powerful new way of looking at things. You never have to be on the defensive about renting ever again. In fact, you can be confident. You can just smile and remember this. They own one property with one roof and one set of problems. You own a slice of thousands of apartment buildings, office towers, warehouses, and shopping centers all across the country. You're not just a renter, you're a diversified real estate mogul.